yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. A very good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of the management and organizing committee, it gives me immense pleasure in welcoming you all for the day 2 of this National Conference on Emerging Trends in Healthcare and Multidisciplinary Studies, NCETHMS 2024. Before we go on to today's session, let's have a quick recap of Day 1. Day 1 had a successful inauguration ceremony continued by sessions by distinguished speakers, namely Dr. N. Gopakumar, Joint Secretary UGC, Dr. Samiran Panda, Editor-in-Chief IJMR, and Dr. Sylvia Fernandez Rao, Scientist E, ICMR, Hyderabad. It was followed by poster and scientific paper presentations from all over India.
Now, we have come to Day 2 of NCETHMS 24. We have a great list of speakers to provide you with a feast of knowledge with your expertise. The list of speakers ranges from an entrepreneur to medical scientist to renowned researcher from the Tamil Nadu government, followed by panel discussion by distinguished personalities. Dear delegates, I request you to kindly put your mobile phones in silent mode. Thank you. Without any further delay, let us move on to the first session. As a researcher, you are driven by curiosity and a passion for discovery. But what happens when you want to turn your research into real-world product? The journey from researcher to entrepreneur can be transformative, requiring a shift from academia to industry, from theory to practice, and from solo work to teamwork. To talk more about this, we have Dr. Sheila Sasikumar, Managing Partner, SS Clinical Research LLP, Director Research and Education, Dr. R.K. Diabetic Foot and Podiatry Institute, Chennai. I invite Dr. Deepa Sundareswaran, Principal, Faculty of Occupational Therapy, Meher, to kindly introduce our speaker.
Distinguished dignitaries and delegates, a very happy and pleasant morning to all of you. It's indeed a privilege, pride and honor to introduce Dr. Sheila Sasikumar, Head, Clinical Research and Product Development, High Care Super Speciality Hospital, Managing Partner, SS Clin Research LLP, Director Research and Education, Dr. R.K. Diabetic Foot and Podiatric Institute, and Rakesh Junjunwala Amputation Prevention Clinic. She has held various prestigious positions in government and private sector and having experience of over 28 years in academics and research. Her area of research expertise include clinical biochemistry, nanotechnology, molecular biology, natural products, bioactivity. She has 6 currently ongoing projects related to diabetes and treatment and already completed 7 projects concerned with diabetes, myocardial infarction, and wound healing. She's received several awards and holding honorary positions. Notably, she's received the award for Professor E.P. Odom Gold Medal 2007 for commendable research activities from Scientific Advisor to Prime Minister, Joint Editor in Journal of Current Science, and she's also the Associate Editor in Journal of Pharmacy and Biological Sciences. She's been the Scientific and Technical Committee member in International Journal of Biological and Life Sciences. Ma'am is also an academic editor for International Journal of Biotechnology Applications. She is a reviewer of several peer-reviewed journals, importantly, Science Asia, Journal of Food Science and Technology, and Journal of Medicinal Plant Research. She has published over 54 publications in peer-reviewed international and national journals till date. She's participated and presented papers and posters in various national and international conferences. We indeed a great privilege and honor to have you, ma'am. So we'll welcome you, ma'am, for this our national conference, ma'am. Thank you. Welcome.
A pleasant good morning to one and all gathered here for this national conference. I should thank Dr. Deepa for a warm introduction, but that was my CV 6 to 7 years back. So I think I can show you whatever I am now. Respected Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Pro VC, Registrar, Organizing Chairman, Organizing Secretary, and to all delegates who are present here, it's indeed a great honor to stand on this platform to share my insights. Maybe these insights are very valuable because it is undergone by me. So a part of my presentation will be how I reached on this platform of entrepreneurship, and rest of this, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to move from academia to the entrepreneurship, some views on that. And my special thanks to Pro VC ma'am and to Pavitra for inviting me here to share my views on this research to entrepreneur, a researcher to entrepreneur, a transformative journey. Without further ado, I think I can move to the particular topic. Can you share it? I hope for the online people, online participants, the slide is audible, I suppose. I mean, the slide is clear and I'm audible. So the topic given to me here is a researcher to entrepreneur, a transformative journey. Now, if you see less than 5 years right now, more startups have come, and Startup India and our PM program was mainly on to develop the products, especially in healthcare, AI-related products, medical devices, even drugs. When antimicrobial resistance, AMR, was popping up, we were all asked to develop products, valuable products in healthcare, so that our economy and also job seekers will go down, and more people, more youngsters, more scientists, more healthcare professionals will become the entrepreneurs. That was the basic thing. And BIRAC, Startup India, seed fund scheme of Tamil Nadu government, there are a lot of opportunities, funding opportunities available. And being a panel member in all these things, I see that lot of medical professionals, including dentists, general surgeons, everyone are coming up with their valuable products. And when I sit in the panel to find out their validation and how useful, unless it is innovative and it is useful to the society, the fund will not be allotted to them for developing the products. So we should always keep in mind, in case of healthcare, safety and efficacy is one of the important factors. Another important factor is patient-centric research is very, very important. Otherwise, it will not be beneficial. So what I told you is currently I am into the startup. I am into the healthcare sector, clinically validating the products of pharma companies, startups, and many products that comes to the healthcare. Without validation, the CDSCO, DCGI in India, FDA in US, European Union in EU countries will never allow the product to be marketed for commercialization and utilization. So that is how I am involved in clinical research. And if you see the badge here, I'm also a regulatory person at FDA for the artificial intelligence. So in clinical research, as every now and then the rules and regulations will be currently changing. So we need to know how and what changes are happening unless until you cannot validate the product. So at present, I'm standing in this particular platform called Startup Tamil Nadu and Startup India as a mentor and a panel member for the healthcare. To reach at this particular level from a researcher is not an easy journey. From an academician, the way of taking classes and preparing the curriculum and so on. The same thing cannot be applied when you move to the industry. Today, industry wants only multitasking person, a multifaceted person, a problem solving and a critical thinker. Only then you will be known or you will be involved in so many projects. So moving from academia to the industry taught me many things, including how to develop your skills according to the industry need. So that's how I started my organization. And in between, it's a personal story. In between, when I was in a very high position, I had my second child as a Down syndrome child. So there is no other go. And that was the time when I got my postdoctoral fellowship in NIH. So there is only two choices. Either you have to leave your career and be a true mother. You know very well that it is very difficult to bring a child from the special need to a independent child in the society. So I took a break in my career, and that break helped me to also develop the skills, including developing my child. So today my son, he's a diploma in business administration holder, and today he's a partner of my organization, and he comes along with me for the clinical research. And wherever I meet the sponsors, wherever I go, conduct my feasibility analysis, infrastructural analysis, adverse event analysis, everywhere I take him. So it was not easy for the society to accept my child. So every now and then I was facing my hurdles, but that doesn't stop me. I was moving on. That hibernation period, I learned a lot, and that learning still helps me, and continuously I'm learning. There is no end for learning. So I recognize that. So a break in a women career. When you, I think all of you all are in LinkedIn. Can you raise your hands? So very few. I'm sorry that you have to. So LinkedIn is a platform where you can meet persons or personalities related to your particular field. That will help you to develop some projects, or if you want to go for a PDF, or if you want to have a collaboration with them, please come across the LinkedIn. You will find all type of expert members, especially people from abroad. So that is a wonderful platform. So that platform, if you're coming, you can follow me. I write articles. I have a newsletter in LinkedIn where I have more than 1.8K subscribers. I write only articles pertaining to clinical research. So only after seeing that, they recognize me, and now I am in the FDA team and in the European team. So why I'm telling you this is, unless you open your skills, unless you recognize your skills, people will not understand that you are a potential person. So you have to know that. So that break in a career made me to realize that this is not my end. Come on, start up. So from there I started again, and I'm standing here. So as I told you, it is not an easy journey. Journey had so many things. Only one thing I want to tell you here is, when my son was working in a normal school, studying in a normal school, 10th, 11th and 12th is a government examination. So when I took the child for the scribe, the panel members, there were more than 10 panel members in GH, and we were interviewed, we were asked many questions. At the end of the interview, all the panel members were okay. Only one person said, no, we cannot give you the scribe. We cannot give you the scribe because you are pressurizing the child. Then they again asked few questions to my son. They said, no, we cannot give you. So I said, please give me 5 minutes time. Let me speak out. Then I said, my basic intention is not to compete. my child for NEET examination or any other competitive examination. My only objective is to get a basic education to read and write, so that when I am not here on the earth, because I am not an eternal person, right? He must be able to survive. So that is my objective. If you are clear in this objective, please provide. She immediately gave me sanction for 3 years, 10, 11, 12. He secured 71%. So there came the end of my school curriculum, and I told him, you take n number of online courses, because there are certain problems when a Down syndrome goes, write examination, I must go back, find a scribe, get permission. But for online, there is no need. So I put him in a foreign university for an online. He secured more than 3 diplomas. I said, this is okay. Now you are okay to come to the normal way. So this helped me and my son. And when I was called for Atal online program by AICTE Delhi to speak about role of women in research, twice I was called by AICTE Delhi to speak on the same topic. I represented the women, and I represented to the collector, stating that if a woman has a break in a career, please give them another opportunity or a choice for them. They can also come up, give them some grants, because today grants are for 35 years and 40 years. Even if a woman comes at the age of 45 to 50 years, please give them a chance, give them an opportunity. Include them in WOS A, B or C in the DST. That was the representation we made, and I specifically made through this online role of women in research. It is available in YouTube. Always you can see that. Delhi has introduced that program. So basically, even if you have anything break or any problem, there is no need to get worried. Your passion can continue, provided you should have a confidence. You should move about. So that is my personal story here. So when you come across, I was telling Dr. Priya ma'am also, when you come across many hurdles, you will stand straight, because you know how to face the hurdles and come out. So my research background, I have published more than 67 publications, and there are 6 chapters I've wrote in books, and I have 2 patents right now. One is waiting. And there are so many projects I have completed. With all these research background, especially my work is on nanotechnology, I have developed a dermal patch from the mushroom, which I came across basic preclinical work, and I was about to move to the clinical trial when I was not having that much grant. So what I did is, I want to do a technology transfer. So I kept that product like that, and I took a patent, so that I can give easily to a person as a technology transfer. So that can also be done, provided you have a legal person with you, you can do it. So this is about my research background. I'm not taking much time. You can see always this is available in all platforms. So from that research, from that academia, what you gained when you move to the research, especially to the contract research organization, you learn a lot how to conduct a clinical research in the animals, small animals. I was the ethical committee member of IAEC, and small animals, large animals, and then I moved to the human. I completed all my examinations provided with the human studies. Then I became the ethical committee member of human trials. And I learned again, whatever things that you have to understand the skills for the human clinical trial. So basically, you're moving from your comfort zone. You know your comfort zone. Many of us do not try to keep our leg. Am I right or not? Yes or not? Do you come out of your comfort zone? You have to. When you have to, when you feel your comfort zone is not providing the rewards that you owe, that you should, so you will try to come out. Coming out of the comfort zone is easy or not? It's a difficult process. It's not an easy process because you will not get as you think when you come out. So that difficulty, if you are agreeing to accept, there comes a very important zone, your recognition zone. That recognition zone is very important for us to make the people understand, hey, I am available here for this particular topic, for this particular field. Am I clear? So step out of your comfort zone at one day or the other, but don't try to come out at my age. You can do it much earlier. So my responsibilities and my whatever I told you made me to have a second choice always, not to come out, but I came with a very late. But don't do that. So the researcher, as a researcher, what are the skills that you possess? I think most of you all are from research background. Yes? Okay. Academia? Okay. So anyway, you are doing PhD or you are doing research, whatever it is. Some of the skills which helps us to enter into the entrepreneur with confidence is, I have just with my analysis I have made here. The first one is critical thinking. Critical thinking is what we want the person to possess when he becomes an entrepreneur. Because you will always face risk. You do not know when you will lose your business also. And when you lose something, you will not gain always. When you lose or when you are not getting that much gain that you are expecting, you need to keep up in the same pace. You should not let yourself down. So you need to have critical thinking, which helps you to analyze completely what has happened to my work, where I lost it, where I should completely go and find out that I should regain all these things. So critical thinking in research happens as well as in the entrepreneurship. And next one is the problem solving. Both comes together. Have you come across the skills that Indian government introduced in 2020? Anyone? Yes? Yes, very good. Can you tell me what are the skills? Good. See, yeah, very good learning. Yes. When national education policy was introduced, our government of India, our PM introduced a booklet for the CBSE students. What are the skills? But the same skills you can also see in the US also, the same type of skills, but little bit small changes that happened. Normally they say that you should possess 4C. What are the 4 C's? Critical thinking, communication, creativity, okay. Competence comes along with the critical. 4 C's is critical thinking, communication, creativity, and collaboration. That's why I told you, when I sit as a panel member for many companies for interviewing the candidates, we see all these skills. Collaboration is important skill, how you team up with your team to work with a team, how you put together and bring a project and all so on. So this 4 C's make you to develop into an entrepreneur along with 3 R's. Reading, writing, very, very important. So have a glance at these skills. No problem at all. Go have all these things. Even you say that, no, I don't need it. You need to understand because this is technology era. I learned all the AI only after coming to this clinical research. Without technology, you cannot proceed at all. We are in the technology era, post-COVID era. Don't think that we will move to pre-COVID. Gone are the days. Today, the healthcare, any product coming in the healthcare, because healthcare is now occupied by big companies, Amazon, Apple, Google, and all these people, they invest lot of money on the products associated with data analysis, etc. So unless you know the artificial intelligence, it can be deep tech, whatever product you're going to bring out, you should have some knowledge. Today, medical writing or writing of papers is occupied by AI tools. Do you know that? Yes? Any AI tool used for writing? Apart from ChatGPT? So you have tools associated with journal, from the journal finder to the submission also you have. Each, when you're going for willing or when you're going for any other publication, they have their Elsevier or Science Dare, whatever it is, they have their own AI tools where you can just match your abstract. It will give you all the journals, which is the journal that is closest for you. So now we are in this particular thing. So you have to know all these tools. So AI tools are also very, very important. And problem solving, critical thinking and problem solving always comes together. It never gets separated. So problem solving is very, very important. If you are a research person, definitely you will face a problem solving every day. You cannot move out of your research every day peacefully. No, I got the results. You have to do it again and again. So you know where you face problem, you have to solve the problem and move on. And data analysis. This is a very important topic that you should, you should learn or you should train yourself. This data analysis, when you are doing a research, it's a data analysis of your own topic. But when you move to an entrepreneur, especially healthcare entrepreneur, it's a set of data we have to analyze for the products. And that data analysis is entirely different. So that we need to understand. And the last one is perseverance. Perseverance and resilience together. So everywhere, as I told you, you need to face the failures, come out of the failures. The same thing applies to entrepreneurship when you navigate yourself from a startup to a business person. You need to know all these things. So I have just put together the transition process that had happened and a slight change of my journey, what had happened. This is in general. Because I'm taking cohort session for Startup Tamil Nadu and Startup India. So I have just coined the things that is needed for this transition. So the first transition skill that you need to understand is embrace entrepreneurial mindset. As I told you, risk. Definitely, when you are a researcher or when you are in academia, you know that every month you will get a salary, right? You will have some fixed income. And you know your responsibilities based on the fixed income of your family, whatever it is. But when you move from this particular arena to the entrepreneur, your income is not fixed. Initial days, your income is not fixed. So you have to make yourself, if there is zero, if there is a chance of me to get a zero that month, how am I going to run the family with all these things? So that mindset you have to develop as a risk. For example, I'm telling you, acquire business knowledge. So basically from academia to researcher, you will not have knowledge of business at all. Business is not so easy, especially when a woman comes out to run a business. The initial acceptance may not be the same. I don't mind even men may get angry at me, I'm not bothered. But initial acceptance is not easy for the society because they won't accept you. They will tell you, why do you want to come at this age? What are you going to achieve? This is a question that came to me. And the second one is identify your idea and validate. What is the most important thing to do when you want to validate your idea? Anyone? Especially from the last bench, anyone can tell me? Do the? Put down? Put down into? Action. To put down into action, what should you do? Huh? Evaluate? Yes. All those are there. The most important thing you have to do is market research. When you have an idea, your innovation, your idea or POC, proof of concept, proof of establishment, whatever the government says, whatever it is, to validate that idea, you must see what is the market of that idea. Unless you plan, you put the strategy, so many things you do, unless you know the market research, without knowing that if I'm going to start, I've invested money. My money is lost. Am I right? So you have to do some market research. So spot out the opportunities. Where is my product? Will it be a sustainability in the market? Do some market research. So that is the program I'm going to give on Monday for the healthcare entrepreneurs. How to do the market research. So once you do the market research, yes, my product can sustain. Then you develop a business plan, whatever she told, you can put the strategies, everything, you can do it. And there also, I should come across market analysis. What is the value of the product? What value should I fix my product to compete with the competitors without compromising the quality? Okay, so all those things. Then build a team. Gone are those days, remember, I think Sagairaj sir is here. Gone are those days when we apply for the projects. So I have applied for so many projects and we have got it. We will apply as one person. Yes or not? Principal investigator, so and so. We get the projects, we'll recruit one senior research fellow or JRF and we'll start. Today the scenario is not like that, especially when you want to write a project for BIRAC. First thing they'll view is who are your team? What is the capability or what are the skills and qualification? If I'm a clinical research person, I'm going to build a team with a clinical research that is not valuable. So a multidisciplinary team is exactly essential. For example, if I have a microbiology related product, so Madam Dr. Priya Abraham is there for microbiology. So some way or the other, you can involve her as an advisory, as a mentor, some way. So this helps your project to move a step further for the grant. So the word I will never be accepted when you are moving from the academia or industry to the entrepreneur. It is we. If I am going to say I have to sit on the ground only, I will not move the ladder to reach the top. So we is very, very essential. Then secure funding. I don't have much time. If you want, I have so many platforms there. I have introduced what are the fundings available, especially for a women. I'm a seed fund committee member for screening the BIRAC projects in Women Biotech Park. If you are interested, you can incubate yourself in Golden Jubilee Women Biotech Park, which is one of the bio nest that is set up by Government of India under the Department of Biotechnology. We have 9 biotech parks. The one and only available in Tamil Nadu, Chennai is Golden Jubilee Women Biotech Park, but the entrepreneur should be a woman basically. And she should have funds, share of more than 51% to call her as an entrepreneur in Government of India. So you try to get some funding or the other and develop. Today we have you heard of angel investors, venture capitaling, etc.? Yes, we have so many angel investors in Tamil Nadu. If you have a product that is worth, and if you have moved from ideation to POC level or to prototype level, You can ping me at any point. We have angel investors, we have venture capitalists. If you say that I don't want, you can apply for BIRAC. So BIRAC, if your product is very good, they will give you the funding, but provided the one eligibility criteria is you must associate yourself in some incubation council that is recognized by Government of India. That's the eligibility here. And the next point is you should ensure regulatory compliance. I'm a healthcare entrepreneur. I'm a medtech entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur or a medtech or a healthcare professional, do you know regulatory compliance of India? Do you know what ICMR now introduced? Do you know what CDSCO, Central Drug Development, has introduced? Or do you know DCGI? Or do you know how to get a test license from Central Licensing Authority or from State Licensing Authority, etc.? So all these things you have to equip yourself when you are moving to a healthcare entrepreneur. Especially you should know what are the FDA guidance, etc. After knowing all these things and you develop the products, you are ready to go to the market, but post-marketing surveillance is very, very essential. You have to do it. Then scale up and sustainability. Have you come across GLP, GDP, GCP? Anyone? Good laboratory practice. Now US has introduced GCLP, good clinical laboratory practice. If you are going to do a clinical trial, GLP is not important. That particular institution should get a accreditation from GCLP, good clinical laboratory practice. Only then whatever the blood or urine test or whatever molecular analysis, RNA sequencing they do, it will be accepted. GLP is good laboratory practice. Now little bit we have moved further to GCLP. GMP, unless your laboratory has good manufacturing practice accreditation, you will not get permission to scale up your product. Then you have GCP. What is GCP? Very good, good clinical practice. If a PI or any investigator does a clinical trial, he should be GCP trained person. Otherwise, even he has 30 years of experience as a medical professional or a surgeon or a clinician, whatever it is, he is not allowed to do the clinical trial as a principal investigator. So those are the things that you have to understand are mandatory for us to know if you want to proceed with this. So I gave a picture of my general analysis, my way. So at the age of, I started at 2022. At my age, I do not want to take a risk. I have a product in hand, but I don't want to take a risk. So I sat how to start, where to start, and what will be my process. So I just simplified with a small diagram in my mind. And I drew several nights. I changed. Finally, I achieved this one. As a researcher and academician, I identified I must come to healthcare with the basic knowledge of that, basic experience. But I changed my idea. Let me venture into the service sector where I can use my own funding rather than investors or grants. So what I did is, I just had a market analysis for 3 years, simultaneously working on the products also. I just had a market analysis where so many products are coming after COVID in healthcare. Many products do not come across this, especially the sanitizers, everything that came, during COVID time. Many things they didn't come across the clinical validation. So I was thinking, why don't I penetrate in this particular sector? So I identified myself. I started with my own investment, whatever I gained as a saving for my research to conduct my analysis. I started my business 2022. I got all my certification from DPIIT. I registered in Startup India. I got DPIIT, Department of Internal Trade certificate. And then MSME certificate. I got my GST, my TDS, all licenses, everything. That is mandatory for me to start. Then I proceeded with my service. My first service was with South Korean team. They introduced a 4D bioprinter. Thank God that particular president of that company called Rohit Healthcare was my close friend, Dr. G. Kim. So Kim told me, I will give you the product, you can do the analysis in India. That's how I started my first analysis of clinical trial. And I did, and it came out well. I published my data. I published in a very important journal, International Journal of Wound Care. It was pertaining to diabetic foot ulcer. That was my first thing. So it came up. It was confident for me to enter. So now I am a women entrepreneur with all the things in the healthcare service sector. So don't think that if you have a product alone, you should come. The way you take up can help, but it depends on what you are capable enough. Otherwise, we cannot. So today, I am just starting different services, implementing different services with the help of my team. I have 6 team members. All are women. All are experts in different fields. I have preclinical expert. My IT person is a woman. And my legal person is a woman. My patent person, of course, Dr. Deepa, you know. She's Dr. Deepa, I think she's also available in your college. She's my expert member. So wherever I go for any product, I find innovation of that product, whether it is suitable, worth, innovative, etc. Dr. Deepa helps me. So we are a team of 6 women, and I have one research assistant with me and CRC. We are running this team in this particular service. So as a women entrepreneur, my aim is not to break the glass ceilings. I don't want to break the glass ceilings. I want to create my own sky, because if I'm a motivator of this, there are many people still waiting, many women are still waiting, like me, with so many responsibilities. I am writing books for the special need parents in US also. So there are many women like me who are suffering, who are well educated and who want to know. So this helps them. So finally, I launched into the clinical research. This was the team that made me to enter into the research. Do not cost, no harm. All medical professionals will know. So this is my certification pertaining to the clinical research, which I started. With all the certifications I applied, and my services, these are my services. My main service is clinical trial, validation, test licenses, and regulatory guidance for all the products. Apart from this, I conduct faculty development programs, skill development, etc. And product development, even you come at any stage, I will help you to reach the market and sustain in the market. So this is my mantra in clinical research, because clinical research is a very important field where patient is going to get a new treatment from that product. So we should be very careful. Ethics should be there, safety should be there, efficacy should be there, and no compromise on quality. I don't bother if I'm going to leave a business if these things are not there. I will never take it. So these are few things to project. This girl got a very good grant, BIRAC grant, more than, I think, 1 crore she got, and she also got a PM grant to develop the product. I just took 3 times her product, and she's now moving to FDA. It's a very important device where you can identify the type of infection without the surgeon using any analysis. So this is very useful for diabetic foot ulcer. Keep the device 10 centimeters away. It will give you the amount of oxygen flowing in the tissues, which help you to understand the angiogenesis process, type of infection, and also the exact perimeter of the wounds, which is very important for the surgeon to understand. So this is one of the product, and published 2 papers with my data analysis of the clinical trial. The one which I told you, the other side is the 4D bioprinter, which is used in diabetic foot ulcer, and our hospital is the first one to have this particular device, especially for the non-healing ulcers. And with this, I thought, why don't I venture into education also? I started a course certification in clinical research under Non-Mudalvan scheme and RUSA scheme. I was selected by University of Madras to conduct this course for the University of Madras for IBMS students. For the biochemistry students, I conducted along with the industry, and we gave them industry training also, and one of them was absorbed in that particular industry. Then I didn't stop there. Went to the level of doing road shows for BIRAC and for the EUR team. If you have a product, if you are in a college, please tell your mentors or teachers there are 2 particular schemes available under BIRAC. It is called EUR for the BSc students. 5 people should be there in a team along with a mentor. If you are a PhD student, you can come for the E-innovation. E-innovation is only for PhD students. If you have any product in your hand, along with your mentor, you can apply. And you can search the EUR centers in India. Anywhere you can apply. In Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore is there. PSDR Krishnammal College is one of the EUR center that is developed by Government of India. I'm there available as an advisory board member. So if there are teams and if it is found to be very useful, definitely you will get a grant to develop your product. So my last part is what are the skills that you require to sustain. I'm not going to explain much. One is you should have a sound knowledge of clinical, sound knowledge of regulatory guidelines, and to run a business. Run a business, you should have some knowledge, some training. There is no one to train you. You should fall and get up. That is the ultimate thing you have to do it. Then networking, leadership. Networking is very important. Leadership, adaptability. You have to change yourself. So 2019, the regulatory guidelines was not the same. Today, the FDA has changed. Every morning, my first work is to see the FDA changes. Unless I know the FDA changes or CDSCO changes, I cannot talk with a sponsor. I'm an outdated person. So every day I need to understand. If needed, I must get a certification, go through the courses of World Health Organization or FDA every now and then. So that you have to do. Ethical decision making, communication is of course important. You should defend. There will be many competitors. You have to defend. You have to see how you are proficient in technology, problem solving, quality, risk management. So a little bit of ISO is needed. So again, I'm now going through ISO only for risk management and quality. For NABH training, I'm going on. Let me learn that, otherwise, not for any marketing, but to understand whether the device possesses the quality and the risk that they give me. So I have to understand that ISO 13485 and for the risk management. So data literacy, continuous learning till your death, continuous learning is very, very important. Don't think today I am equipped with PhD, that is enough. No. Every now and then you have to learn yourself. These are the skills when you come across, whether you go abroad or whether you're going to go to an industry, all these things will be looked up. Because anytime if I'm going to live, there are 100% behind me to compete. So what skill made me to select in that particular position is most important. Patient advocacy and finally global health awareness is very essential. So what are the things that any entrepreneur who runs a healthcare should need all these things. This is all available as a booklet in LinkedIn. I have written all the articles. This is all based on my analysis I've written. Many of the persons will come without knowing all these things and finally end up. So this is a key performance indicators that you should possess if your POC has to come to the market. So finally, what made me to come to this level is understand yourself. Do we have time to understand? Every day going morning, doing a work, coming at the night and doing again the same work. When are we thinking about ourselves? That is very, very important. So if you do a self-analysis, don't bother about your age. As everyone says, age is only a number. You do self-analysis, then you will find out many things without your knowledge. It is there in you, but even you do not know. So that is very important for us to jump from one sector to another sector. So it's a powerful tool. Find out at least 5 minutes per day. So if you are a woman who can balance the demands of motherhood, research, business, etc., I think you can sustain, you can bring many innovations and changes in the market. Pavitra, is my time over? Yeah, thank you. So, today I'm proud to stand as a clinical research professional, and clinical research is a very, very important topic where we are helping the patients. Especially I'm working on orphan drugs, because rare diseases is one thing which is popping up where we don't have any medicine. So we are giving a new drugs, new devices. So it's very important and very happy for me to stand in this field. But utmost cautious thing should be there in mind when doing all these things. So finally, I end up a true healthcare entrepreneurs are driven by deep sense of purpose, as I told you. Please have quality of care. Patients are our ultimate stakeholders. Do think or imagine yourself as a patient when you're bringing any product into the market. It should be beneficial to them because they are in some sort of pain. We need to understand that pain, and we have to bring a quality product so that health care should be accessible to all. My last statement is this: health care should be accessible to all. So bring many cost-effective products, quality products that can help the patients even in the terminal stages of their death. That will help them. So if you have anything you want to interact with me, these are my email IDs. At any point of time, you can come in contact. I'm there, available in all platforms. If there are any questions, I'm ready to answer. The floor is open. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. If you want, yes. And how many teachers are here? Can you raise your hands, teachers? Can you raise a little bit higher? Okay. Okay, thank you. See, there is a GO that has come out last year. Even if you are a teacher, a faculty member, or anywhere associated as a teaching professional, you can start your startup. You are eligible to do your startup. And this has become one of the criteria for UGC also for your promotion. Okay, so have the GO with you. And her question was DPIIT, how do you get that certificate? When you, when you are a women entrepreneur, having a private limited company or LLP, limited liability, partnership company, etc., you can apply to the Startup India. There is no cost, all online registration. Once they see your certificate, that is your company registration certificate with all the things it is correct, it automatically moves from Startup India to the DPIIT. There is no need you to change. And in DPIIT, when they find all your certifications are correct, they will give you within 45 days, not even 45 days now, you will get your DPIIT certificate at free of cost. Once you get the DPIIT certificate, you are going to establish your business. You can register yourself in MSME. MSME in Tamil Nadu, you can register. It is also free of cost. You can register yourself. You will get your MSME certificate, and simultaneously with the help of your auditor, you can do your GST also. Once you get DPIIT, your thing is valid for 10 years. Your startup is valid for 10 years, but 2 years is only eligibility for you to apply for the seed fund scheme. Any seed fund, whether it is going to be from the EDP wing, Startup India wing, Seed Fund India of Tamil Nadu, or Seed Fund India of Seed Fund of Incubation Council, you are eligible only for first 2 years. Okay? Everything is available in Startup India. If you want, you can come to Startup. Where are you located? Anywhere. You can register yourself in Startup TN. I am available as a mentor. You can take me. You become a mentee and it will be automatically free of cost for you to come there. Any other questions? Yeah. Please reach out to the email ID, and thank you. On Sunday, we all have gathered here on Sunday, and this Sunday is a memorable one for me, with all the experts in the particular field and with all your with all delegates. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your inspirational session, ma'am. We are indeed honored to have you amongst us today. I'm sure with your insights, the audience, using the 4 C's, will strive to break all obstacles, convert a full stop into a comma, and come out of their comfort zone to bring out their skills for recognition by converting their ideas into real-time quality products that sustains in the market. Thank you, ma'am. May I now invite Dr. Deepa Sundareswaran, Principal, Faculty of Occupational Therapy, and Dr. Pon Murugan, Associate Dean, IPR and Doctoral Studies, to present a token of appreciation to our speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, sir. Despite making up a significant portion of the healthcare workforce, women in healthcare research face unique challenges that hinder their progress and impact. From gender bias in funding and publication to lack of representation in leadership positions, women in healthcare research encounter obstacles that their male counterparts often do not. To enlighten us about the challenges faced by women in research, we have Dr. Priya Abraham, former Director, ICMR, National Institute of Virology, Pune, Professor, Christian Medical College, Vellore. I request Dr. Fabiola Dhanraj, Principal, Meenakshi College of Nursing, to introduce the speaker for today.
A warm good morning to one and all. I have the honor of introducing a very eminent personality, Dr. Priya Abraham, former Director of ICMR, National Institute of Virology, Pune. Currently, ma'am is the Professor of Clinical Virology Department, CMCH, Vellore. She is an Indian scientist, medical doctor, and one of the leading virologists in the country. When the entire world was battling COVID-19 with full force, this Indian woman scientist was at the forefront of the country's battle with the virus. From handling the logistics of sending the testing kits to various testing labs to keeping a close watch on all the new emerging variants, and her team enabled India to make a huge stride in the direction of curbing the spread of the virus. She got her MD and PhD in microbiology from Christian Medical College, Vellore, and is heading the Clinical Virology Department in CMCH, Vellore. She became the director of ICMR, National Institute of Virology, Pune, just 2 months before COVID-19 hit India. Her initial interest was focused on hepatitis and human papillomavirus, which laid the groundwork for her expertise in handling viral infections, a skill kit instrumental in the battle against COVID-19. Dr. Priya Abraham, with her team, made a breakthrough by isolating the coronavirus. This gave India a first mover advantage and helped in understanding the disease better. Later, it helped in making the country a vaccine story. In September 2023, Dr. Priya Abraham was honored as a fellow of the Indian National Science Academy. Dr. Priya Abraham has been a part of the committees for various viral infections and advisor to the World Health Organization, and also served on the Indian Council of Medical Research Scientific and Advisory Committees. Dr. Priya Abraham is definitely a game changer. Let us welcome Dr. Priya Abraham with a big applause.
respected Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, Dean, Registrar, other eminent members of the faculty, other speakers at this conference, and the most important people here, the other delegates of this conference. So this is the topic given to me, expanding on challenges faced by women in healthcare research. And what I'm going to open is the underbelly of reality. And the underbelly of reality is that a number of women in the arena of healthcare, though have increased in numbers if you look at the past decade, the proportion of women actually occupying key leadership positions in this arena is only about 18%, and those engaged in research is even lower. So many of the eminent women you see, including Dr. Sheila Shashikumar, whom you just heard of, are the tip of the iceberg. Challenges for women scientists are numerous, which affect not only their personal but their career growth. And these revolve around two important domains. One is the personal side to that scientist in a healthcare setting, which we might call intrinsic factors, and then institutional factors that may curtail her growth, which we might call extrinsic factors. The biggest impediment for a woman to go at the pace she would like to is trying to seek the right work-life balance. You saw also in the case of Dr. Sheila, her growth, which might have been meteoric, was curtailed a bit because of a personal setback. But again, she's an example of somebody who got up and just continued moving on. And that is the spirit of overcoming challenges in this kind of setting. So in a clinical research setting, the commitment to work is time-intensive, demanding, and can be particularly stressful to women, eventually even leading to burnout for the woman who's trying to strive forward. And this is particularly true of scientists who are at mid-career level or junior level, who are raising children, expanding their families, caring for dependents and aging parents. This is reality not only in our country, but all over the world. 52% have reported a break in their career because of pregnancy and childcare related responsibilities. 46% of 263 women who were interviewed across 55 countries, and I've given you the reference there, felt that the working hours, the length of the working hours, prevented them from having quality time with their family. You know, in healthcare research, you cannot look at your watch and say, okay, I come in at 9, I'm checking out at 5. If you really want to make a difference, you can't really look at your watch. And that's where the work-life balance becomes precarious. Other individual or intrinsic causes may be because a young woman who's got into this field may lack self-worth, may lack self-confidence, may be unable to be assertive in her workplace. The inability to say no when more and more work is being dumped on her. The reluctance to ask for something that is critical for her research. And in not saying it, she's the only one who's going to suffer. And very, very, very often, young women underestimate their worth. And that again was referred to by Dr. Sheila. You need to examine yourself. Look at your plus points. Look at your stretchability. And that's where you will discover your inner potential. Sometimes young women may actually lack motivation. They may come from a setting where there are strong social, cultural, and traditional barriers that will prevent her from persevering with a full-fledged PhD degree. Very recently, 2 of my PhD students joined. They were full of gusto. Yes, we want to do a PhD. When they got into it, when they realized that they can't look at their watch, one just quit last week. One quit 2 months ago. This is reality. Sometimes we lack family support, whether from parents or the extended family. And very often women are not always lucky to have a very supportive spouse either. And then a woman may also have occasionally health issues which may come in the way of putting long hours into research. The institutional challenges for women, and this is where it gets a bit more ugly, is the fact that whether it is in India, whether it is in the US, Australia, UK, name the country, and the study I referred to actually stretched 55 countries, there is a gender bias. Between 1979 to 2022, 16% of the studies revealed that an implicit gender bias was a key source of mental distress for the woman health worker. The Matilda effect. This is a situation where a young woman has an idea, she has developed a plan, she has got very good findings, but her co-worker, who is a man, who may be familiar with what she's doing, has not really contributed, actually walks away with the credit. This was actually coined by a woman named Matilda, and that does happen in many of the research settings. I remember when we talk about implicit gender bias, that means it's a subconscious gender bias. I was some years ago, more than a decade ago, called to be the syllabus setter for the DM in clinical virology for the country. And another very senior virologist was also called, and we were together supposed to make the syllabus. I was overwhelmed with the responsibility given to me, but I did my homework. I checked with all my colleagues, I checked with my clinical colleagues, and I put together a syllabus spanning for 3 years of a DM in virology training. We were called to the then Medical Council of India, and the other virologist was also called there. And we were in interaction. He also gave me some good inputs, which I incorporated into the syllabus. And when we started interacting, he was a bit not so aware of some of the minutiae of the syllabus. So he told the official there, I've got my secretary with me who has done all the work. I thought that was, he doesn't know me well enough. If he was a gentleman who knew me, I would take it from him. He didn't contribute much. He gave some inputs, but I think he was crossing the line. In many settings, there's unequal pay, fewer opportunities to progress. Women colleagues are not addressed by their professional titles. They're called by first name. Unfortunately, this study brought out by Fatima et al., whether you like it or not, sexual harassment, verbal or physical, does still occur at the workplace. And that was reported by 24% of the responders. 263 women participated in this assessment. It was an online assessment through Google Forms. They were able to speak freely of what were their challenges, and that is very alarming. Lack of work flexibility, being passed over for promotions, they skip you and go to a man. And women are less likely to be first or last authors in multi-author publications. I'm only quoting literature. We spoke about the glass ceiling and the glass cliff. The glass ceiling, as you all know, is an invisible barrier that women encounter when seeking advancement in her career. the glass cliff is actually even more demeaning. This is a tendency for groups to put women in power at the time of crisis or when a company or a hospital or a healthcare facility is actually on its downturn. They know the chances of failure is high, and they know they can always blame it on the woman. Extrinsic challenges that can be, that we see that could actually be put in place is the lack of a creche in more than 70% of healthcare institutions. The lack of HR policies, human resource policies that are women-friendly. These institutions have formal women redressal systems. There is also a lack of work flexibility. I once read a report of a woman who wrote to her boss to say, I need to drop off my child because the school is starting half an hour late. Can we have that meeting just half an hour later, sir? And you know what the boss did? He organized the meeting half an hour earlier. Intimidating superiors is a reality, and I'm actually airing reality to you. A stressful workplace, a toxic workplace is sometimes something women find extremely stressful. So the same study looked at the different reasons for why women find the research in a healthcare setting toxic. I already spoke to you about the work-life balance or work-home balance. I spoke about discrimination and harassment, the work environment, lack of professional resources provided to the woman. I've in fact alluded to all of this, and you can see that really the lack of work-home or work-life balance is probably the most important thing that comes between the woman and her success in her field of choice. Institutional support can come in to the rescue of a woman. Institutions need to take this seriously. They need to bring in mentor-mentee programs. Dr. Sheila referred to BIRAC's efforts. And actually, BIRAC has now got a Women Lift Health program. And I'm one of the mentors where we are mentoring 5 people in our related field. And believe me, it's not just the mentee who benefits. It's the mentor also. You learn so much. And that woman-to-woman interaction is so powerful, extremely powerful. We need to have institutions that reduce gender disparities, bring in educational workshops, trying to boost a woman's self-worth, help her to understand she can also not always play victim. It's up to us to pick up ourselves and walk, even if we fall down many times. A woman also needs to be able to practice mindful practices like taking better care of her physical, mental, and emotional health. Find ways to de-stress. It may be yoga, it may be physical activity, going for a run, or it may be just listening to meditational music. Choose whatever helps you relax, but it should empower you to spur on. Changes in institutional policies need to come into effect quickly. And little gestures like celebrating women on the International Women's Day goes a long way to make women in the workplace feel valued. I went to an institute, it was a Naval Research Institute, and I was there for their International Women's Day. The entire program, the catering, the entertainment was organized by the men of the Naval Research Institute for the women. That is amazing, to make women feel that they also count. One of the good gestures that was done in March 2021, in the second year of the pandemic, was ICMR put out their group of women warriors in ICMR. On the top are some of the directors, but below I was so pleasantly surprised to see many of my colleagues from ICMR NIV. And when some of those young women came to me, the kind of recognition that they are nationally recognized as COVID warriors gave them such a boost. So sometimes, the onus rests on older men and women like us to step out of our own busy schedules and comfort zone and reach out to women, know a little about their background so we can engage with them in the right way so that they feel valued. What are the topmost coping strategies that successful women have used? Finding a good mentor. A good mentor doesn't have to be a woman. It can be a man as well. And we know umpteen examples of very good male mentors. I myself benefited from a very good male mentor. Finding a good peer group. We spoke about, networking. We need to network with women in our space. Find good role models and take a page out of the book of each of your role models so that you can strive to be one of them or even better. We need to self-motivate ourselves. We need to work on our confidence. We need to be assertive. We need to say no when we have to say no and yes when we should say yes. I'm not saying be aggressive, but we have to be assertive. I was also another victim of a rather judgmental statement when somebody, two very senior male colleagues told me, Priya, you're really focused, you're on an aggressive mode. And I didn't get angry. I actually thanked these two gentlemen for raising it. And I told them, gentlemen, I won't tell you their names, gentlemen, do you know that a woman has two careers? See, genetically, men can walk out of the home, even if the child is having 104 degrees temperature, a man can walk away from home and focus 100% at his work. But women are genetically made different. If your child is unwell, your mother is unwell, some dependent is unwell, be honest with yourself. Can you completely switch off? Exactly. When you go back home, do they care whether you're India's most premier researcher or doctor or entrepreneur or whatever? Nobody cares. You have to be the professor of caregiving when you get home. So I want to make it very clear to men who think women are aggressive when they are very focused when they are at work. It's simply because when they are at work, they have to give 100%. When they go home, they switch into another career where they have to give 100%. Also, a deep faith. No matter what faith we embrace, a deep faith in God Almighty has helped many women. And this again I've taken from a lot of literature. Hard work and hard work goes a long way. But I want to remind you about the mindfulness strategies you should side by side adopt. Dedication, we heard about adaptability, focus, tenacity. Tenacity is really important. You might have many detractors who might criticize you, who might talk behind your back, who might be rude on your face. You need to develop not thicker skin, but the hide of a rhinoceros. And that's really important because you should be clear about your goal, clear about all that you have set out to do in your professional and personal life, and never be distracted or dejected by anything adverse that comes your way. One thing that's really important is we all need to work on our time management. We cannot play victim. We have to be smart in managing our time so that we are really efficient at work and as best as we can when we get home. And then, as I said, find better and better ways of balancing professional and personal commitments that will really not go away. Again, this is from that same publication where this shows you that self-confidence, hard work and dedication, and if possible, if you can have good childcare support, will be big factors in making you successful at the workplace. I took up 4 women, examples of women, amazing examples of women who have not only navigated all these challenges, but have overcome the turbulent waters of gender bias, shattered the glass ceiling and created their own sky, like how Dr. Sheila mentioned. In fact, we should put Dr. Sheila in this slide as well. She hasn't heard it. So there are umpteen examples of women who have persevered despite the odds, and we need to realize that some of the problems begin with us and we need to overcome that. Side by side, institutional support needs to come into action. So what were the attributes of women who actually get to the top, not merely good at their work, but who get to the top? Traditionally, we associate leadership with aggression, loudness and masculinity. But each of the women I told you about had their own style, yet their approaches had some commonality. They had extreme dedication, which I told you about. Empathy. Empathy is really important. And also empathy for your colleagues. It's all about teamwork. It's all about working together. It's all about collaboration. We heard that C earlier. And of course, being serious about our goals and having a spirit of innovation. Having humility, caution, and a personal touch. I earlier mentioned about trying to get to know your colleagues. Where do they come from? What are the challenges they face? And if you know a little about them, you would be a more meaningful colleague and a fantastic leader. Be able to demonstrate the same sense of, I can handle it, I will handle it, no matter what. And cognizant of vulnerable groups around us. There might be people with physical challenges, people with mental challenges, people who have been bruised because of, unpleasant experiences before. We need to actually be cognizant of them and also try and support a group which is as diverse as possible. I love it when there's somebody from Kashmir or a Sardarji working in my group. We must promote diversity in our country, and diversity is the beauty of our country. We need to be good mentors and good listeners. That is how we have youngsters trying to emulate you and who will even approach you with problems that they have. The government has had many initiatives for women in the larger arena of STEM, which is science, technology, engineering and mathematics, where healthcare also can be dovetailed. There is the Science, Technology and Innovation Policy aiming to achieve 30% of women's participation by 2030. I personally think 30% is too small. Indo-US Fellowship, where there are international collaborative research opportunities for women scientists. The Vigyan Jyoti, which encourages young girls to pursue STEM education early in life and where they are able to address gender disparities. Gender advancement programs like the Gati and Kiran, which initiate focus on creating gender-sensitive institutions and providing career opportunities for women in science and technology. The Curie Initiative, which is a wonderful program, which supports development of research infrastructure in women's universities, fostering right from an early part of the woman's career a conducive environment. And last but not the least, the Swati portal is aimed at creating an online portal representing Indian women and girls in STEM. It's a completely interactive base. And I told you what even BIRAC is doing. So Indian government is aware. We are not in the dark ages. Indian government is aware of these problems. These problems exist not only in India, but in many parts of the world. And I think many women in India have actually broken the glass ceiling more than women in many other countries. So we must realize that we are, yes, we may start out with disadvantages, but at the end of the road, you can actually create your own sky. What are the ways forward? Continued advocacy for women scientists in all spheres, redefining the culture of STEM, that is mandating women's representation on all boards, all think tanks, investment in women-only institutions, paid internships for young girl science students, particularly giving emphasis to women who come from rural areas, and also nurturing the idea of positive parenting. I think a woman's self-worth starts from her early under 5 age group, where parents should make an effort not to show any gender distinction. Boys are special, girls are special too. Both are special. I won't say more special, both are special. So, yes, both are equal, both are special. And that is the culture we as the parents of tomorrow need to nurture and inculcate very early in the child's development. What unsaid and said things that transpire in the home can make or transform a boy or a girl's mindset. With that, thank you for your patient listening. I know I've been asked to take a very controversial topic, so I'm game for questions. Can the mic be given to Dr. Sheila?
Thank you for your wonderful presentation, ma'am. If women draws her barriers, or what you can say, limit herself, maybe she will not be overburdened in the professional, I'm telling you, in the professional ways. So one of the strategies that we can adopt as a women when we are in the professional stream, at home, of course, there is no possibilities of limiting our barriers, but at least at the professional side, when you try to draw your barrier, maybe you will find time for your own development. For example, publication of papers. There are many times the first authorship is denied for a woman. I'm not telling out the names because when I conducted a questionnaire survey for the women, why their names, especially in the many problems, one of the problem, the most important problem they said is, they work behind the screen, they work a lot from morning to night, but they are denied for the first authorship. So why such things are happening when the equity is there, when equal involvement is there, is my question.
So the reality is equity sometimes doesn't exist. And I take your point, which I also mentioned in my talk. We must learn to say no, even if you think it might have repercussions when work is being dumped on you again and again. And to also say, yes, I belong to this piece of work because I have done this, this, and this for the, particular project. So that assertiveness, I'm not saying aggressiveness, not submissiveness. There are 3 grades. Being aggressive, which is not good. Being submissive is also not good, and that's what Dr. Sheila is referring to. But being assertive is the via media where you politely and dignifiedly say, sorry sir, I can't take on anymore. Sorry ma'am, I cannot take on anymore. And also, whether they hear it or not, you have to say, sir or ma'am, I did this much. I think at least I should have shared first authorship with somebody. So it also rests on the individual, but it also rests on the institution and men or women in power. Those of us who are older, we have received enough. And when we are more magnanimous to the younger colleagues, that is our way of giving back. So I think the onus, of course, unfortunately, it starts with the woman researcher. But the institution and its decision makers can team up with her in building her.
Thank you, ma'am. Your lecture, I'm sure, resonated with all the women here and those who are there online. It certainly did with me. Thank you. It was a wonderful lecture. And as part of the administrative setup of Meenakshi Academy of Higher Education and Research, we are glad to tell you that we are a women-led university. Our Chancellor and Pro-Chancellor both are extremely dynamic women, and more than 50% of our leadership positions are occupied by women as well. Extremely glad to share with you this fact and hope many more institutions can adopt this approach. It was a wonderful lecture and very emotional, and it resonated with all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I should thank Dr. Pavitra for saying this, because there are beacons in the wilderness which should be emulated by more institutions. And, I'm not saying it because I'm a woman, but women, if they are guided properly, very often they may be misguided, they lack confidence, they have so many problems, own problems to start off with. But if they are guided and supported in the right way, they are a powerhouse of energy. And so I think women should also not keep calling themselves the weaker sex. You stand up and do your work. Match up with any man and do your bit. Don't look for, excuses to say, oh, I can't do it. I remember when I was doing my post-graduation as an MD, we had night calls and, we'd be sometimes just have to sleep in the duty room. I was the only postgraduate who was a mother. Most of my fellow postgraduates were not even married. Those who were married had not turned mothers yet. But I never for once said, I'm a mother, can I be relieved of today's duty? No. We need to have that pride. We need to show people, yes, it's harder for me, but I will do my bit. So I want to make that, I'm saying, adding on this message to young people, let's not make excuses. Let us do our bit. Let us contribute. We should not seek for any, charity or, people feeling pity on us. No, we should do our bit. So we'll earn the respect. Respect always has to be earned. So I'll step off the stage for the next speaker, and thank you very much once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I kindly request you to stay back on the stage, please. I would like to call our Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. C. Kritika, ma'am, and Dr. V. Shanti, Principal, Faculty of Humanities and Science, to present a token of appreciation to our speaker. Thank you, ma'am.